Dear students, we had been discussing lesson 5, our runaway kite. What had we discussed in the previous class, or rather previous classes? Claude and Philippa lived with their father on the big Half Moon Island, and sometimes they developed a hobby. Once they developed the hobby of kite making. A boy on the mainland had taught Claude how to make kites. He made plenty of kites, and he made a specially beautiful kite made of lovely red paper, which he had decorated with beautiful tinsel stars. He had also written their name on the kite, Claude Litti and Philippa Litti, and they had also written their address on it, Big Half Moon Lighthouse. One day, a very strong wind was blowing. It was an ideal wind for kite flying. So, Philippa went inside the lighthouse to collect the kite, but a mishap took place. She tripped over the rocks and her elbow went through the kite, making a big hole. Now, if there is a big hole in a kite, it cannot fly. So the big hole must be mended, must be repaired. But unfortunately, there was no red paper left. So what did they repair or mend the kite with? They mended the kite with an old letter. It was lying on the bookcase in the sitting room. They mended the kite with the letter, a sheet on each side, and they also dried it by fire, and then they went away in a hurry because they wanted to fly the kite as long as the wind was there. But again there was another problem. After some time, the cord of the kite snapped. Claude was standing with one bit of the cord in his hand, and the kite flew away over the sea to the mainland. A month later, a letter came from her father, and when father went through it, his eyes looked wet. That means he had been crying, because it was the letter from his own sister. And then Claude's father told them the whole story. Them means Claude and Philippa. Why? They had no relations. Actually, they had relations. Father had a brother and a sister, but once father had quarreled with his brother. He had fallen out with his brother. He had left home. Many years after, when he came back, he found that his brother, with whom he had quarreled, had died. And he could not find his sister also. His sister was missing. And this letter had come from his sister. Her name was Esther. She was a widow. She had lost her husband. And where did she live? She lived hundreds of miles inland. Inland means far away from the sea. How did Aunt Esther come to know about Claude, Philippa and their father? How did she know that they lived on the big Half Moon Island? Actually, one day her two son and daughter, Dick and Mimi, went out into the forest. And inside the forest, they found that there was a kite, a beautiful kite. Attracted by the kite, they carried it home. And then their mother saw that the kite was patched with a letter. And when she saw the letter, she turned pale. That means there was a whitish color on her face. Why did she turn pale? Because she was shocked. It was the same letter that she had once written to her brother. At that time, Claude's father did not live on the big Half Moon Island, he lived elsewhere. So she had written that letter to him. And how could Aunt Esther understand whose name were on the kite? Philippa, Claude, the name of her brothers, son and daughter, were not known to her. But Philippa was the name of her mother, Lord was the name of her father. And she knew that only one person in the world would keep his son's name Claude, only one person in the world would keep his daughter's name Philippa, because that person's father was Claude, that person's mother was also Philippa. So now Aunt Esther understood where the letter had come from. It had come from her brother's family. So she sat down and wrote a letter to the big half moon. And naturally, father received the letter. Now we are starting from that point. Next day, father went and brought Aunt Esther and Dick and Mimi with him. Getting this letter, receiving this letter, father went where Esther lived. He crossed over the sea, he went to the mainland, then he traveled hundreds of miles inland to find his sister's house. And he brought his sister, Dick and Mimi with him. They have been here ever since. Here means Big Half Moon Island. Now, once they came, they remained on the island. They means Esther, Dick and Mimi. Aunt Esther is a deer. Here, a deer means a very agreeable person, a person who has a very pleasant personality, a person who has a sweetness of disposition. Disposition means nature. Jar Swabhav Nishti, she is called a deer. Aunt Esther is a deer, that means she is loving, caring and affectionate. And Dick and Mimi are too jolly for words. Dick and Mimi are also very joyful and cheerful. They are not at all glum. Tara gumra mukhe thake na. So now Claude and Philippa have got what they wanted. What had they wanted? They had wanted their relations. They had asked father about their relations, but when they found that their father was very sad to hear about it, they hadn't questioned him anymore. But they always wanted relations. তারা সবসময় চেয়েছিল তাদের আত্মীয় থাক। And now they have got relations. They have got an aunt, they have got two cousins. When they went to the mainland, they found that all the mainland children had relations. They had their aunts and uncles and cousins. Only they did not have any relations. It was a very deep sorrow that they nurtured in their minds. But now that sorrow had evaporated. Now they had relations. But the best of it all is that we have relations now. What is the best outcome? What is the best result of this adventure? The best result of this adventure is now Dick and Claude and Philippa have got their relations. They have a loving, caring, affectionate aunt. They also have two very happy and cheerful cousins. Now they can easily play pirate caves or shipwrecked mariners, because now there are many children on the Big Half Moon Island. So why is this story called Our Runaway Kite? A title of a story reflects the theme and content. যে কোনো গল্পের নামটা তার বিষয়বস্তুকে উপস্থাপিত করে। Here, the kite is the central character of the story, because it was the kite which had brought about the family reunion. এই যে পরিবারের মধ্যে মিলনটা ঘটলো, পরিবারের সদস্যদের মধ্যে, তার পেছনে রয়েছে এই ঘুড়ি। That is why the name of the story is The Runaway Kite. Runaway, because it had flown away from the island to the mainland. It was a runaway kite, but this kite had played a pivotal role in the lives of Claude, Philippa, Esther, Dick, Bibi, and Claude and Philippa's father. This kite had brought about a sort of family reunion. So that is why the name of the story is Our Runaway Kite. This tale also tells us about the value of relationships. Father had quarreled with his brother. He had left home, but he had never found peace in his life, in Shanti Bandhu. Because we can get peace only if we have relationship with others. If we don't enjoy a cordial relationship with our kith and kin means relations. আমরা যদি আত্মীয়দের সঙ্গে ঘনিষ্ঠ মধুর সম্পর্ক না রাখতে পারি, we shall never get peace. So this story also tells us about the value of relationships. Father became happy only when he was reunited with the family of his sister. So this is a simple story and we have to solve the questions and answers. So your homework will be page 42. Now you will find that comprehension exercise at page 42 begins with question number 2. Actually it is question number 4. No, I have told the wrong page number. No, you should solve the questions of page 44. Page 44, question number 7, 8, 9. Page 44, question number 7, 8, 9. So this is your homework, solve them, and we will discuss other chapters in our next classes. Thank you.